Next, please welcome Mr. Tamir Jacob, founder of Boston Entrepreneurship, to share his perspectives on the developing tech trends.
Okay. Hey guys, thanks so much for having me here, Rosie and Iris. Thank you so much for introducing me, and it's been a pleasure to come to speak to you guys today. For those of you who don't know me, I run Boston Entrepreneurs, and the goal of that is to bring together innovation and entrepreneurship and startup events throughout Boston. So what I'm going to be talking to you guys today, about is tech trends and trends that you should really pay attention to in entrepreneurship and innovation over the next few years. And as you can see, we've actually really, in terms of technology, it's accelerated at a rate of growth that we're really unprecedented throughout all of human history. I mean, in the 1400s, we went, from the printing press to today, 600 years later, having 3D printers, and it's quite staggering the rate of progression that it's been. And a lot of that is driven really by consumers demanding technology. Consumers want to adopt these technologies. It took 110 years for actually us to adopt the telephone, but only 8 years to get 1 billion users on the smartphone. So it's a pace that's really unheard of. So I'm going to go through some of the top tech trends that are around right now that you should really be paying attention to in the entrepreneurship space. It's not going to be every tech trend because we only have so much time today, but I will give you quite a good overview. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the rise of autonomous transportation. And that's been a huge thing that we're starting to see in our world. So we've seen self-driving cars, self-driving trucks. We see like Mercedes developing self-driving trucks. We see Tesla, dropping off their first self-driving truck at their first customer the other week. And we're starting to see self-driving taxis and drones, especially in Dubai. We have companies like Siemens developing self-driving taxis that essentially ferry people around, and we've seen a lot of investment with Uber as well in that. And that was actually in Dubai. So what we're starting to see is that we started with this kind of utopian vision that what was going to happen was we were going to have these self-driving cars, and these cars would go off and earn us money, and we'd see our bank accounts rise as these cars went, and we'd send these cars off to be like an extra worker in the family in the day. And that actually, we don't actually expect that to happen at all. And what's really going to happen is it's the businesses who are going to capture the value the most, not the consumer. Although we are moving to more of that sharing economy. So what we expect to see is business models really centered around usage, like a cell phone bill. So like you pay for data on your cell phone, you would pay for the number of miles you ride a self-driving car a month. That's what we really expect. So we see a lot of investment in terms of self-driving by VCs in a lot of businesses in that space. And we are moving to the sharing economy and the electrification of everything. So by electrification of everything, I mean, we're going from the combustion engine to electricity powering really most of our systems, especially in scooters, self-driving cars, and it's really an exciting future. And that really gives a lot of opportunities right now from a startup perspective in the battery space, in fast charging technology. That's something we really expect to grow. So the other industry that's really ripe for disruption right now is construction. So what we're starting to see advanced materials. Like as you can see on the left there, that's actually self-healing concrete. So what they do is they take bacteria, they put it in concrete, and when the roads break for any reason, they actually self-repair. So we're starting to see advanced materials as a big area of investment for construction. Robotics, we're starting to see bricklaying robots, autonomous vehicles, drones for surveying building sites. 3D printed buildings is another huge space and another use of 3D printers. And we're also seeing in other places platforms that disrupt agent fees. That's a huge thing to be on the lookout for at the moment. The other area is fintech. So fintech, obviously we've seen blockchain, cryptocurrency come in and really upend the space and how we do things in that industry. And the target really has been bank intermediary fees and bank charges that have been historically high. And we've seen a lot of startups like Robinhood and Investing come in and really disrupt that model. And we're also seeing companies like Metromile disrupt insurance. So if you under-consume on your insurance, you can pay per mile as opposed to kind of overpaying based on your use. And we're seeing P2P loans and crowdfunding, micro-investing, micro-payments, also within the cryptocurrency space as well, and money transfers. So a lot of businesses actually still use checks. And the reason they still use checks is they want to avoid these 2% fees but by a lot of these institutions. So what we want to do is get away from that, and that's why there's going to be such huge growth in this area. And then the other area you really want to pay attention to is AI, big data, and machine learning. And the amount of data that's actually in our digital hemisphere doubles every 2 years. So you can imagine that the cost of all those extra servers and everything like that. And so we have a few trends in big data that you really should pay attention to right now. The number one trend is really data as a public good. So what's happening is consumers are starting to say, you know what, we want to be compensated for providing our data. And you're also seeing consumers becoming way more conscious about our data in terms of transparency, protection. We want to know where our data is going, what it's being used for. And you're also seeing a rise in corporate data breaches, like with Equifax. You have a few big companies that were really breached, and it's because hackers are becoming more sophisticated. So we expect to see a lot more investment in startups in cybersecurity space. That's a big area for investment. And the other thing recently that's really been big is AI. Like traditionally, we've had all these corporate analytics that kind of give you these big dashboards in the corporate space, and we're going to move to kind of a cognitive decision, machine learning based AI approach, where machines can actually recommend you business decisions to take as opposed to just presenting you data. So that's going to be huge in the enterprise space. The other thing is obviously AR and VR. So you have Oculus, HTC, Apple are working on AR glasses. The HoloLens 2 is coming out this year. You've got companies like Magic Leap in the AR space that have just released their first headset. And what that's going to create is huge opportunities in the VAR app space for development. So within those platforms, there's going to be huge opportunities for new app developers. And huge investment there too. And they're really going to change the way we look at the world, from arcades to surgery, to construction, to product design, to edtech. So edtech is especially because, we started, when I went to school, we all, wrote things down and read books, and now, these kids are really learning on tablets, and soon they're going to learn on holograms, and they're going to change the way we learn, permanently. So edtech's a huge area to watch in the VR, AR space. So we also have opportunities in voice, IoT, and smart homes. So 50% of all search online is actually going to be done by voice in 2020. And we're going to start seeing improved Bluetooth connectivity and improved connectivity in the protocols. So what you're going to see is like you'll be able to take your phone out and you'll be able to connect to multiple devices and multiple speakers instead of just one. And also like we have drones that are going to be able to talk to each other, form hives. That's a really interesting space too. Voice shopping, we're going to start telling our virtual assistants to order us things. And we're also going to see a big leap in energy efficiency in smart homes as well, and devices and sensors that monitor that. That's going to be a huge area of investment. The last industry I want to discuss is retail and e-commerce. So Instagram is actually going to be launching shortly an entirely new platform called Instagram Shopping, specifically for brands to shop at. And we're also going for consumers to shop at, and we're going to see a lot of social media and automation startups springing up around that, as brands kind of want to connect more with their customers. And you're going to start seeing, if you go to New York, you'll see a lot of smart mirrors that kind of help you choose clothes in the retail stores. That's going to be a really big area to watch because it's going to change how we buy. And you're also going to see, if any of you have seen the Amazon Go stores yet, you can just go and pick up what you want and just leave. So that's going to be interesting. So really, I don't have much time here, so there was a few areas I did miss. So healthcare, like companies like Neuralink, that's something to watch. Interfacing humans and machines. Agriculture, like you have companies like Walmart that are working on smart bees to pollinate, really like artificial bees, so it's pretty incredible. And then water and air purity are two areas that are really heavily being invested in right now and will continue to grow in developing countries. Blockchain to like track goods through the supply chain, edtech and AI and hiring. How do you make better hiring decisions? And legal document automation. How do we take these hourly lawyer fees that are extortionate and reduce those? So really, that's kind of like an area of what we expect to happen in the very near future. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jacob. We have come to the end of the first part of the conference today. So